A monster is born in the skies over Arkansas. A tornado so wide, it blots out the sun. 16 lives lost. $223 million in damage. Yet the official rating stayed at EF4. Why? 3 years earlier, an EF2 tornado carved a path of destruction through these same streets. But this time, the devil came back angrier. How did Vilonia survive the unthinkable? And why did history repeat itself in the deadliest way possible? 3 years after a deadly tornado nearly wiped Vilonia off the map, it happened again. But this time, the storm defied expectations. Winds screaming at 190 miles per hour.
We are way too close. Hang on, guys.
Entire neighborhoods reduced to slabs. Yet, the National Weather Service said it wasn't an EF5. Why? Because of nails. By the end of this video, you'll see why meteorologists call this storm the ghost of EF5, and how it sparked a debate that's still raging today. Rewind to April 25, 2011. A smaller EF2 tornado tears through Vilonia, damaging 100 homes.
No, it's red over there. When it lit up in the clouds, it's all red.
We already feel it getting colder.
Yeah, you might want to go ahead and go get in the gun room. Yeah, we got one coming over the river. Go get in the room. Get the dogs.
Fast forward 3 years. Same week, same town. April 27th, 2014. The atmosphere was primed. A surface low-pressure system was drawing up tropical humidity. Forecasters watched as one particular supercell, fueled by the low-level moist flow, took shape just west of Little Rock. Doppler radar showed strong rotation and even a debris ball on its screen, the telltale signature that a tornado was on the ground. 7:06 p.m. Touchdown. In Paran, the storm touched down west of Little Rock and quickly grew into a powerful tornado. Winds hit 150 miles per hour. Homes anchored with bolts ripped from their foundations. It looked like EF5 damage, said surveyor Timothy Marshall, but the math didn't add up. By 7:20 p.m., the tornado slams into Mayflower.
Guys, my ears are popping.
Yeah, I pull over right up
Yep,
here.
we're in it right now. We're in the tornado. All right, we're pulling over. Yep, we're pulling over here.
So we need to back up.
Yeah, I think we got to back up a little bit.
Oh, I think we're good.
The destruction is immediate and total. Homes are ripped from their foundations. Cars are tossed. The tornado is now a massive wedge, nearly 3/4 of a mile wide. The newly built middle school collapses. Dual pol radar detects the debris signature.
The debris signature, some of the debris that has been already picked up is now dropping out ahead of the tornado off to its north and east. At this point, we continue to have that debris signature that is showing up, and the debris signature is about that wide, the blue hole there, and the velocities continue to show that. The core of the strongest debris is in the middle here, so there is some wider debris that I believe is not totally tornado. It's been cast.
That's when we knew this tornado was eating the town alive. The home on the left, located in Vilonia, was built using cut nails instead of anchor bolts to secure the structure to its foundation. Meanwhile, to the southwest in Roland, Pulaski County, another home on the right did have anchor bolts. Both homes were completely swept off their foundations. What followed was 41 miles of utter destruction. The twister marched northeast through Mayflower and into Vilonia. Along its path, vehicles became toys. Semi-trailers were tipped and tossed hundreds of yards, and trees were not just uprooted, but stripped clean of bark. In Mayflower, the tornado hit a neighborhood on the south side. In one subdivision, a poorly constructed storm shelter door flew open under the pressure, and debris killed a resident inside. Meanwhile, the National Weather Service had declared a tornado emergency, the highest level warning for this. Yet despite sirens and warnings, some townsfolk were caught off guard.
A triple-wide mobile home set. There was nothing left of it except the straps.
Her daughter Danielle still accepting the reality of her loss.
It's just an emptiness inside that no one can replace, and every day is a challenge.
Then at 7:50 p.m., the tornado reached Vilonia on the northeast side, the absolute killing fields moment for many. It slammed into Parkwood Meadows, a new subdivision built just 2 weeks prior, with winds so violent that entire multi-story houses were swept completely away. 10 adults and 2 children in Vilonia lost their lives in this instant.
Daniel and April, the only survivors.
I didn't hear my kids. I didn't see my husband running for me. I was just alone. And in that moment again, I cried out to God and I prayed.
April didn't see her husband for 5 days. Broken bones and fractures kept her in the hospital for weeks.
It was like God just met me on the dirt when I prayed. I didn't understand it, but I just had this peace and I knew it was going to be okay.
The scene was apocalyptic. Cars flipped like matchsticks. Debris littered every corner, and faint cries for help were carried in the dusty air.
Hello? Anybody in there?
So I don't know it.
Well, they had a big RV.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, they had a park too.
By dawn, the toll was clear. 16 people were dead, 12 in Faulkner County, Mayflower, and Vilonia, 3 in Pulaski, and 1 in White County, making this the deadliest single tornado in Arkansas since 1968. Nearly 200 people were injured. Entire families were missing. News crews interviewed survivors wading through chest-high debris, searching for loved ones. Stories of heartbreak poured in.
Prestigious in the military world, and I'm retired Air Force myself, so I know the pride that comes behind that. Sure do.
Entire blocks in what once were safe neighborhoods were now basements and foundations poking through wind-blown grass. Why was this tornado so severe? When warm, moist air meets cold, dry air, while wind speed and direction change with wind shear. On April 27th, water vapor came north from the Gulf, heated by the late spring sun. Steering winds, when the cold front slid in, it acted like a trigger, lifting the moist air fast. This created a rotating column of air, a supercell, with a violently spinning updraft. The National Weather Service noted the radar's debris ball, which literally meant trees, houses, even cars, were being lifted miles into the air. Satellite imagery confirmed a nearly 41-mile damage path cutting northeast through the forests and fields. The NASA Earth Observatory highlighted that this showed up as a faint brown scar from space, proof of trees and homes obliterated along the lake. This technicality kept the tornado's rating at EF4, even though the destruction looked every bit as bad as other EF5s. This sparked a huge debate in the meteorological community. Some experts argued that the EF scale is too strict, and that tornadoes like Vilonia's should be rated on the visible destruction, not just construction details. Others say the scale is necessary to keep ratings consistent and scientific. Debris patterns and damage surveys also showed the tornado's most violent damage. In everyday terms, this was not your typical storm. As one cleanup volunteer said, it hit so hard that no 2x4 boards were salvageable. The tornado's energy was so great that it even unbolted houses from their slabs. Homes not nailed properly were blown away. Storm shelters installed after a smaller 2011 tornado largely worked, except in one tragic case where the door was slammed inwards by debris, causing a fatality. All these details explain why the damage was extreme. The ingredients, heat, moisture, lift, wind shear, combined that night into one of the strongest tornadoes in the region in decades. As soon as the skies cleared, first responders and neighbors sprang into action. Arkansas National Guard units were mobilized within hours. Dozens of soldiers, many from the very counties hit, arrived to secure roads and help find survivors. 6 trucks of fresh water were sent to thirsty residents, and teams flew Black Hawk helicopters low over Lake Conway and dense woods, looking for victims trapped under debris. Incredibly, one of those soldiers was later confirmed as one of the victims, a Guard member who perished shielding his daughter in Vilonia. Volunteer teams poured in too. Within days, hundreds of volunteers from the region and beyond joined cleanup efforts. The Church of Latter-day Saints sent about 1,000 Helping Hands volunteers, coordinating with the Red Cross and disaster relief groups to clear roads and search for remains. Meanwhile, local fire, police, EMS, and neighbors formed human chains through piles of rubble, pulling out survivors and giving first aid. Arkansas Governor Mike Beebe noted on TV, "These are Arkansans helping Arkansans, like they always do, as state agencies and volunteers." From Dallas, Memphis, and other cities answered the call. On the ground, volunteer healthcare teams treated dozens of injured residents and shelters filled with families who had nowhere else to go. The scale was massive. 4 FEMA disaster recovery centers were set up in Mayflower and Vilonia starting the next week, helping people apply for aid. Rural electric crews and tree services worked day and night to restore power and clear highways. In the months and years after April 2014, Vilonia and Mayflower slowly rebuilt. FEMA reports show that the April outbreak and this tornado led to tens of millions in aid to Arkansas. By early 2015, FEMA had distributed over $43 million for Arkansas disaster relief. For this tornado specifically, more than $2.3 million went directly to survivors for home repair, temporary lodging, and personal loss. Another $3 million was spent fixing roads and bridges, and $2.2 million helped build new school safe rooms. Arkansas even passed a federal grant to fund storm shelters in county schools, so no child would have to find shelter in a closet again. Yet money was only part of the healing. People of Vilonia planted 16 trees in a memorial park, one for each life lost. Neighbors held community meetings and support groups. The Vilonia School District, one of the hardest hit places, dedicated a scholarship fund to fallen soldiers' families. A decade later, scars remain. Many streets still bear those concrete slabs and twisted girders, but so does resilience. The town now drapes blue ribbons on light poles each April to remember April 27, 2014. For the people of Vilonia, the rating doesn't matter as much as the reality. Their town was changed forever by a storm that defied expectations. The Vilonia tornado rewrote the rulebook. It exposed flaws in construction codes, radar interpretation, and the enhanced Fujita scale itself. Had this happened pre-2007, it'd be an F5. A 2025 study argues the EF4 threshold should be 190 miles per hour, exactly what hit Vilonia. Yet its legacy lives on every anchor bolt installed. Every radar upgrade traces back to this storm. After witnessing such raw power and community spirit, what can we learn about preparing for the storms of life? Thank you for watching this story of tragedy and hope. If you found this documentary insightful, please subscribe and let us know in the comments, and stay tuned for our next episode. Trust me, you do not want to miss it.